Today I want to do something a little bit different with you. I don't know about a lot of gardeners, but we sit and we do a lot of reading. At least I do over the winter time. And I came across this great book. It's called Gardening with Less Water, Low Tech, Low Cost Techniques. Use up to 90% less water in your garden. And the book is by David Bainbridge. So I wanted to talk about this book today because living in North Texas, we struggle with water and getting the most out of our water for our gardens. And I thought that it might be an interesting topic for others as well. We've lived in Texas for about 20 years, and I haven't always had a garden. I kind of gave up gardening for a while just because going from the north down to the south takes a lot to change how you garden. But the good news is that it's a learnable skill, and you can have two different types of gardens here in Texas, and I've come to enjoy that and have learned how to make that happen. But for summertime gardening, which is the garden that I struggle with the most because of the watering and the bugs, this book was really helpful to me, so I thought it'd be of interest to you. Now, the first part of the book, it talks about the different types of vessels it uses. And I had never heard of an Ola before, and that's a picture of this right here. Um, and it's made out of the porous clay. So, what we want to talk about is the Olas, and it's a great garden help because it holds water in the Ola until your soil is dry and the roots of your plants need it. So that's the great thing about an Ola. Um, you would have to use more than one in most cases, depending on the length of your flower or your garden bed, because the drawback is that the plants have to be spaced around the Ola so the roots can go towards it. So if you have a 4, 6, 8 foot long bed, you're going to need several of these. And the problem with an Ola is that they're very expensive, at least in this form. Um, the way you use it is you take it out and you bury it almost up to the lip of the Ola itself, and then you fill it with water, and you'll put some sort of lid over it, some sort of covering over it, so no critters get down in there. And then as your soil dries, the Ola releases the water. The water flows or seeps out of the clay itself and waters the roots. So it's a great alternative to just watering on top of your bed. Because these are so expensive, people have come up with another solution. And what you do is you go and buy some clay pots at your garden center. Walmart, you can sometimes find them for $5 a piece. And the size depends on you and your garden. But what you do is you'll get two pots, let's see, and you place them on top of each other, and then you just use a water soluble glue to glue them together. Now on the bottom there's a hole, and you leave that hole. um, you'll put some glue over it so nothing can flow out of it, and then at the top is the hole, and that's where you'll put the water, and then you'll just get one of the little tops and cover it that way. And this makes an affordable presentation of an Ola that is pretty easy for most gardeners to put together. So that is how he talks about the clay pots. He also talks about doing this sort of thing along with your trees. And what this is just a PVC pipe and drilled holes in it, and then you'll bury the pipe up to the ground level. And then when you water, like we've just put in a bunch of fruit trees, so when we want to water the fruit trees, we'll use this first and fill this up, and all of these holes let the water come out at root level for your trees. So it's another great alternative to watering in North Texas or anywhere where it's difficult for water. He talks about doing wicks, and that's another great thing. You'll basically use one of these and drill holes in it, and then you'll put like a cotton rope through and bury that, and the water will wick out into the lower part of the bed, which will water the roots. So that is another great alternative. That's, again, what I love about this book is that everything is simple to do, simple to create and use. And that's what I was really looking for, was an answer to different ways to use water and make it go further instead of just, irrigating with water that goes out into the air or on top of the ground. So the second half of this book is really great because it goes into giving gardening tips on how to grow native plants in your yard, or how to mulch, or how to use gray water. That's really interesting to me because I would love to learn how to use the water from my house, catch it, and then use it in the garden as well. So I really enjoyed that part. In chapter 9, he talks about rainwater harvesting. Again, that's something that's pretty easy for a gardener or a homesteader to do. You might have to start on a smaller scale, but all you have to do is, kind of work along some of the ideas that he gives and set that rainwater harvesting up. And then you can just increase it, get bigger barrels or whatever as you get better at doing it. In chapter 12, he talks about our water future. And this is so important. It's basically what it's saying is we need to learn the best ways to use our water instead of just making it so easy and you plug in a sprinkler and you go about your business. Is that really the best way to use the water that we have? I know here in Texas you get X amount of water and then they start doing regulations and shutting down, and you want to make sure you use the best methods that you can for the water that you have accessible to you. And so it starts with us, and then to our communities, and then to our world, and we're just all really responsible for the water. So those are just some of the highlights of this book. I really liked it. I enjoyed how practical it was. I enjoyed how easy it was to put things into practice. And this summer coming up is the first summer that I'll be using some of these. And so I'm eager to see how well they work. So I hope you really enjoyed this. If you are interested in the book, look below in the show notes and I'll have the link to it for you. And also, if these are the type of videos you like, let me know. Hit the like button. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're looking for gardening and homesteading ideas. And I hope you guys have a great day.